I think they always wanted that. Sony. They always were working towards the Sinister Six, and it was kind of like a dream they were working towards. But again, like how would that work without Spider-Man? So my guess is that at some point they would have gone, can we borrow your Spider-Man or something? Or would have their own Spider-Man, I suppose.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to No Drama, Just Movies, and we are back this week with another movie review. Hit that subscribe button to stay tuned with all the content that we release each and every week in the world of TV and movies. My name is Cameron. I'm ready for my last hunt, Kelly Smith, and I'm joined by my esteemed colleague here.
I'm Phil. I'm something of a chameleon myself. Corwin.
I wonder how. Anyway, if you haven't guessed by now, we are here to review none other than Kraven. Of course, this is the latest and last, apparently, installment in what has been the prestigious live-action Sony Spider-Verse. But here we are, Kraven. Obviously, we're a little bit late with our review. We've seen a lot of reactions, a lot of them not very positive. However, we went in expecting the best, hoping for the best, wanting the best. The question is, did we get the best?
Yes, we did. I absolutely loved it. No. Can you imagine? No, it was like I didn't hate it, which was good, I guess. But it was just boring. It was just underdeveloped. The acting was so bland from everyone. I don't even think we need to get too much into the acting, like specifically. I just thought everyone was just like bad, and we might get into why. But yeah, it was just boring. It was just a mess of nothing. So, what do you think?
It's bad. It's bad. This is, as I said to you before we even started recording, this isn't even. I could sit here and talk about how bad the movie is and the issues with the movie. I think what intrigues me the most is why, and the whole drama and the talking point in regards to Sony, and this string of what feels like very poor, subpar movies, taking these, Spider-Man villains and, essentially flipping the script and having them carry their own movie in seemingly what was this attempt to build up their own cinematic universe or side
Mm.
verse or verse that still connects with the MCU, maybe. And this is just a movie where the script is just awful. Like
Yeah,
that's what it is. The script is awful, and
and
I go ahead.
so can I jump in? Because do you know who wrote this script?
No.
So I looked this up because I always wonder, like, who are these people and what have they done before? Let me read this out to you.
Hit me.
Art Markham and Matt Holloway are a writing duo that wrote Iron Man, for example, among other things.
They were the
Um,
sole writers or co-wrote? Sole
co-writers, like
writers?
they work together.
Gotcha.
I'm not sure if there was other people involved, but
I feel
uh,
like maybe there was. I don't know if John Favreau had a hand in writing that, but go ahead.
oh, possibly, maybe. And then Richard Wenk wrote the Equalizer films, right? And I'm thinking that this should have been so much better. I don't know
Mm.
what happened. Like, if this was a Sony, like the studio interfering or something, but like looking at these names and like what they've done before, it's like, what happened there? But yeah, sorry. Go.
No, I mean you bring up a good point because obviously veteran producer, good old RVR ad, obviously is producing this movie as he has done all the Spider-Man movies, or Spider-Verse movies, should we say? But maybe that's it. Like I think that in hindsight's 2020. But look, if you're at Sony Pictures and you're looking at your properties, right, and how the majority of the top 10 of Sony's most highest grossing movies ever are Spider-Man movies, right? And That's the most valuable IP from what I gather, at least from what I can tell. I can't think of anything else that even comes close. And so it makes sense that you would sit down and go, hmm, we look at certain comic book runs, whether it be, Venom or, whatever, and think, well, maybe there is an opportunity here where, we can take some of these characters and construct a great story and actually do something here. And listen, I still believe that in an alternate reality, that is possible. And I also
Mhm.
still believe that not even just an alternate reality, in general, I think that it is a smart move. And I think it's something that they should have done and actually given a chance to do. But it does make you wonder with how these movies have been, whether it be the Venom movies, Morbius, Madam Web, this, that, there is a theme here of these movies are so poor and they're so poorly done that you do wonder if it is something or there was something within the development of these movies, specifically on the producer side or the Sony side, where there was potentially interference or potentially them going, this is the idea for what we're looking for, and maybe just it not being great at all. It's really tough to say. I think like with this movie, I think at its best, right, with this movie, there are some moments where, I was making a joke saying, it's like, Kraven meets John Wick. Even that is a stretch. But I think at its best, it evokes some of that feeling, some. And I feel like in maybe once again an alternate reality, that could have been the way forward. I think that the times where I did enjoy this movie the most is when he is gruesomely killing people and coming across as almost this suave hitman at times. Not all the time, but that at its best was enjoyable. But those moments are so few and far between that it just falls dead, and it's really unfortunate.
Yeah, the action was really good. Like there were some scenes that I really enjoyed. Like when he, for example, when his brother gets kidnapped and he chases them and he runs like it's in the trailer as well. Like he jumps through the window and like crawls up buildings and or jumps up buildings and runs across rooftops or something. Um, and those were really cool, kind of, even though the CG jumping looked a little bit fake, a little bit too light. There was no real weight to it, I think. But yeah, the action scenes and the fighting in the prison and the beginning, um, the first 8 minutes that they showed on like that they released, um, like that was quite fun as well. So I was a little bit excited when I saw those first 8 minutes because I thought at least we can get like like you said, John Wick, that kind of Logan style of just absolute mayhem, like someone tearing through bad guys and killing everyone. But we didn't get a lot of it, or not enough. Um, yeah, it would have been nice to just have more of that.
Yeah, I mean that's the thing. Like, you make this into a short movie, and suddenly you might have something here. But yeah, it's a 2 hour feature. It's so bland. It's so boring. Sometimes it's really painful to watch. And there are some redeeming moments. Like I still felt that Aaron Taylor Johnson was still pretty good for what it was in this movie.
No.
I still at times bought into him, but there was times where it did expose. I think that he is a good actor, but there was
Yeah.
times where the script was so bad that it did expose how there's only few actors who can take a bad script and make it something. This did expose moments where unfortunately he may not be that performer, or at least in this movie wasn't that performer. Even Russell Crowe, I think, for as
Mhm.
interesting as I personally found him, and I thought that he was the most enjoyable performer to watch in this movie, even he, like, struggled very much so to get this over the line. What was your thoughts on the performances there?
I did, yeah, same. They were all very one note kind of thing, all very like it felt flat, I think
Mm,
might be the right word.
yeah.
And yeah, I agree with you that a lot of that is the script because I love Aaron Taylor Johnson as well as an actor. He's done really cool things. Like Nowhere Boy, specifically because that's his drama role. The rest is I know are kind of more like your Kick Ass and your Bullet Train and that all that like more action films. Um, that boy can act, you know. Russell Crowe, Academy Award winner, you know, should have been better. You know, I who I enjoyed. It was Alessandro Nivola as Rhino. Um, he was at least funny. He made some choices, and they were absolutely fucking weird choices. I think after we finished, you mentioned the thing where he like stalks through the room, stuff like that. I think he stands at the table at some point or like a drawer and makes this weird noise. I'm like, it was just funny. And I feel like he's the only one who showed up and went, let's just have fucking fun with this. I don't care. This is going to tank anyway. No one cares about this film. So let me just collect a paycheck and have fucking fun. And so I had fun with that part of the thing, of the film. So thank you, Alessandro Nivola, for that, for bringing me joy in this otherwise bland film. But yeah, the rest are like, I hated the mother, Calypso's mother or grandmother or whatever she was supposed
Yeah,
to
the
be.
tarot card reader.
Yes.
Yeah.
Like she was the absolute worst. I don't know who that woman is, and I won't mention her because I don't want to like, you know, I have nothing good to say. But yeah, like her delivery was just absolutely atrocious. Sorry again. But everybody else was just bland. But yeah, I didn't like the acting at all.
I mean, look, thank you, Alessandro, for putting a smile on my friend's face. However, the Rhino didn't do that for me. Didn't do that for me. The Rhino to me sucked in this movie. I think that character sucked. It was one of the
Nah.
worst things about this movie for me. And also the foreigner, like thought that guy was not cool at all. Very annoying, actually. Like, if I'm being honest with you, in hindsight, I would have actually much more preferred if this literally was like, as I said, more John Wick style. If this was literally just a movie about, Sergei extracting revenge on his dad, and that being the mission, that it was him going through a ton of gangsters and mercenaries and whatnot to eventually get to his pops. I think that would have been to me like a bit more of a interesting story and just made it fully John Wick style, just killing people left, right, and center, beating people left, right, and center. Obviously, that would have not exactly be a Kraven the Hunter movie, which I think that does go into something that I think is an issue with this movie. Was you going to say something before I'd say?
Yeah, just about the like the plot in itself. Um, like I think it lacked like a villain, like an actual villain. Like you had his dad that he didn't like, fair enough. Then you had the Rhino who was somehow leading a whole group of crime people. Who was then kidnapping the brother and became a villain, I guess. But it's like who's like because Kraven had this list, right? And they were all talking about, oh, once you're on the list, you never get off or something. I was like, we never saw that list. He never went through that list and went, okay, next name is this guy, next name is this guy. Like you said, this kind of John Wick style of working your way up to the mega boss. And like you said as well, like as a mega boss or like the big bad, Rhino was absolutely nothing. Like he was like completely pathetic. So I think it needed that kind of uber boss that he could go up against, and it would make his life a little bit more difficult. And sending all these like minor henchmen, like the Rhino maybe, and like the 1 2 3 guy. Like goddamn, the foreigner, to send those, but then eventually get to someone who's actually formidable. That might have made this a little bit, because there was nothing personal about these conflicts either. Like everybody had a problem with his dad, like the Kravinoff, Russell Crowe's character. No one really had a problem with Kraven himself. It was all like with a dad, like
Yeah.
personal to Kraven specifically.
And I think that's the thing, right? Because I've traditionally been someone who has gone, look, I think that there is a reality where you can take these other Spider-Man villains and do a story of them that doesn't involve Spider-Man. This was the one movie where it did make me go, okay, I see how this can be tough with certain characters more than the others.
Yeah.
Because the thing about Craven is that he does become much more interesting when Spider-Man is in the picture. Like they just mesh really well together. At least I feel personally speaking. And I think that okay, you sit down and go, okay, we're gonna do a Craven the Hunter movie. Okay, well, what's the movie gonna be about? And you kind of immediately then start to go, well, I'm assuming it kind of has to be about how he became Kraven the Hunter. Obviously, in this movie, it starts with him already essentially being Kraven the Hunter.
Mm.
Um, and in reality, when you think of it, you go, okay, you know what? It could be an interesting story to actually see how he became this hunter, how he went from hunting, regular animals or game, and then suddenly made his way up to into the mercenary side of things, and how that in theory on paper does actually sound like it could be quite interesting. But you then realize in seeing it in reality that it was probably much more harder than you'd actually think. Because I think that's the thing. It did make me go away going, is there actually a way that you could have done a Craven movie that
Mm.
is actually quite interesting without having Spider-Man introduced? And I still think there is a way. But after seeing this movie, it definitely did make me go, this is much harder. Whereas, you look at something like Venom, I feel like that character could definitely live without. And, we've got
Mm.
Madam Web and Morbius will chuck to the side because, they're terrible too. But it did make me go, I realized how difficult this would have been anyway. And that then goes on to, weirdly enough, then the other point, which is the inclusion of Spider-Man characters in this. We mentioned Rhino, the Foreigner, spoiler alert, Chameleon. I mean, the Daily Bugle even made a little
Oh yeah.
cameo in there on the laptop. Like, it did make you go like, what was the aim here? Like, we saw obviously a report last week from the Wrap where obviously they stated that this is the end of Sony's run of these live action Spider-Man movies, or at least their own separate verse, and that they're gonna shift focus onto Spidey 4, Spider-Man Noir, and obviously Beyond the Spider-Verse. And in that article, it does mention that Sony had felt fear wanting to include Tom Holland Spider-Man into these movies because they felt like the audience would reject it, which is interesting. And obviously, it depends on who you speak to or how it looks at it. If it was their call, if perhaps Tom Holland maybe had some say, or if Marvel at all had some say, but that article seems to suggest otherwise. But it does make you wonder, like, what was the plan? Like, was the plan ever to introduce a Spider-Man, or was the plan hopefully to make a series of movies, take these characters and make a series of movies that was so intriguing that they could have just lived in their own universe by itself? Because when you start to introduce a Rhino, a chameleon, like it does make me wonder what the end goal was, if there was one. Obviously, there's been rumors, and you mentioned it to me before recording, of a Sinister Six, but who would that Sinister Six go up against? Like, I wonder
Exactly.
what the plan
Yeah.
was there.
Yeah, the Sinister Six only makes sense if they have a Spider-Man or some good guy to fight, right? Otherwise, they'll just be six guys who maybe are anti-heroes trying to do the right thing, and that would be
Yeah.
very boring. Or not the right way to adapt that. But I I think that was the idea because they from very early on, like I think one of the Amazing Spider-Man ones, right?
Yeah.
Like that guy in the head,
Yeah. That was in number
Cat,
two,
Mr.
Amazing Spider-Man
Fears.
2.
Yeah, Mr. Fears like walks past this, and we see the little Doc Ock arms and all
All
that
of the
stuff, and like
Sinister Six armor.
I think they always wanted that. Sony. They always were working towards the Sinister Six, and it was kind of like a dream they were working towards. But again, like how would that work without Spider-Man? So my guess is that at some point they would have gone. can we borrow your Spider-Man or something, or would have their own Spider-Man, I suppose, because
Yeah.
like Sony could probably do that.
Yeah.
To have like maybe it would have like split up like the DC EU. What are we calling it now? But to
DCU.
have like to have like two Batman, like an Elseworld for
Mm.
Marvel. So yeah,
Yeah, I mean, but that's the thing, because it's like, even if we always see the calls as saying, well, please, we put Tom Holland in these movies, or let's have another Spider-Man in these movies. But these movies have been so poor that, once again, and I mentioned this to you the other day, I've always rejected this notion that including Spider-Man in these movies would make them significantly better. These scripts are so bad and these movies are so bad that I don't think the inclusion of Spider-Man is going to take this movie from what is a 2 to a even a 5.
I
I
don't
think that
know.
really, I think it purely depends on if the script is good. But I don't think the
Yeah,
inclusion of Spider-Man will suddenly make this movie better. We saw the two Amazing Spider-Man movies, and we know how that planned out at the time and how that was received at the time.
mm.
You know what I mean?
But I'm thinking maybe, hopefully, they might have a better idea of what to actually do with these characters, like the characters that make a lot more sense as, you know, interacting with Spider-Man, like a Venom, like your Kraven, for example, or Madam Web. Like, once you put a Spider-Man in there, the story is maybe easier to write. It might still not be perfect, but the Amazing Spider-Man films weren't that bad. Like not this bad, and like these. They were
Mm.
still pretty decent. They weren't like Marvel Spider-Man, but they were okay. They're okay.
True. True.
Average. So once you throw in a Spider-Man, you go, okay, Spider-Man could do this, and then the villains could do this, and they would actually be allowed to be villains,
Mm.
and which might make them a lot more interesting.
I mean, so that will do it here for our review of Kraven. We do a IC review system score on this channel. So the question is, Kraven, how many ICs are you going to give this one out of 10?
We were talking about the Sinister Six. I'm
Yep.
going to give it half of that. Little segue. I'm gonna, oh my God, not a good one. I'm gonna give it three ices out of 10. Very moldy, moldy, moldy. Bye bye for now. Three ices out of 10.
Whoo! And you read my mind, because I'm also going to go with three ICs out of 10. This movie is trash. It absolutely sucks. The only reason why I'm even giving it a 3 is these small, brief John Wick moments that we
Yeah.
had, and those are few and far between. However, Kraven for now has officially had his last hunt. What a time to be alive. It's so sad. However, thank goodness for Kevin Feige. So that will do it here for our review of Kraven. Once again, we are No Drama Just Movies. Please subscribe to our YouTube channel. Give us a like, thumbs up, please comment, share, jump down in the comment section below. Let us know your thoughts on Kraven and this Sony live action Spider-Verse as a whole. Let us know if you have any highs, any lows, what you think they should do next. And if you think in hindsight this was actually a good idea. Once again, my name is Cameron. I'm having my last hunt, Kelly Smith, and I'm joined by my esteemed colleague here.
I'm Phil. I'm something of a chameleon myself. Corwin.
Oh, that's right. So that's been us here on No Drama Just Movies. Thank you very much for checking out this review today, guys, and we will see you very, very soon. Take care, guys.
Bye.